Welcome to another GoldVine Podcast. And today we have a very special guest with us, Fabio. So why don't you introduce yourself, man?
Well, hello everyone. My name is Fabio Fabbiani. I'm currently a senior in high school, and I have a lot of different cool experiences that I want to share with you today. A couple of the different things that I do. I'm very big and involved in Future Business Leaders of America, the country's largest student-led business organization, where I've had many different experiences as far as different competitions and case studies I've done at the local, state, and national levels, officer positions at the state, and a council position now at the national level. In addition to that, I run a YouTube channel called Purple Political Talk, where I dive into electoral politics. And I've had a great deal of success with that, over 1.25 million views
Oh,
and
wow.
thousands of subscribers. In addition to some other fun things I do with my school, and I recently started a new program with Morgan Stanley as a Finance Academy scholar. So a little bit of everything, but really involved in FBLA and my YouTube channel, I think, are my two favorite projects that I've started recently.
Absolutely, man. So I see you have leadership everywhere, man. It's like YouTube, FBLA, things in your school. And to be honest, when I was even first starting out with FBLA, you were the first person I hit up, and you know that too. I was asking for information about what to do with my booth, and you just showed amazing leadership qualities. You were humble. You had a position at the state level, and you were ready to help anyone, whether it was at the region level, the city level, the local level. So I really like that about you. So speaking about leadership, what inspired you to pursue leadership roles in business, and what made you so successful at
So I would say that part of it is personality based. I
it?
know it sounds
Right.
kind of cliche, but I was sort of a like natural born leader. Like even in
Yeah, yeah.
when I was little, like I would always like try to maybe
Same
like
one.
boss people around and like try to organize. I always loved doing the
Right,
organization.
yeah. Yeah.
So that really, I guess those like personal qualities, little by little, as I started getting to an age where I could like start stuff and look at
Absolutely.
opportunities, I knew that I
I
wanted
completely agree with
to
you.
lead.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's sort of where it started. And I would say that a big amount of the different leadership opportunities I've had over the last couple of years, they really developed from, just taking that first step, taking that risk and diving in.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's taken that, I guess, more natural personality type, to and applying it and taking the
Exactly. Exactly. Right. All right. Since you're a big leader, what are the biggest challenges that you faced in your leadership journey, and how do you navigate it?
for sure. So I think one of the biggest things about leadership, like I find it sometimes that's difficult once you're like leading big groups of people to really look at how what your strategies are going to be, so you can have everyone be happy and comfortable with your leadership and whatever the objectives are that are being done.
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
So a couple of examples, at least for example, in FBLA, where right now at the national level, we have to work with dozen states, over
Yeah.
70,000.
Yeah.
So fine tuning those programs to make sure that we're able to meet as as many goals as possible, but reach as many people as possible requires navigation, because what works for one team, what works for one person does not work for the
Right.
other.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
and with my YouTube channel, for example, since it's politics, it's a very, heated, a very heated topic, right? So, you have an audience, right? And as a YouTuber, you have to make sure you understand your audience, because at the end of the day, they are the people that are going to support you in your journey to grow your channel, and expand your reach to even other people. Because things
Right.
like likes and comment and engagement really matters. So understanding how to balance a little bit the perspectives that I show on my YouTube channel, so I don't bleed subscribers, for example, is something that I found very difficult. But over time, I found a way to take my YouTube channel as a place where it's a safe place for people to have discourse about different political topics, and that way they're able to connect and not really look at the videos as, oh, you're supporting one side or the other, but really encouraging that discussion. So I would say that's really what I think, finding ways to make sure that your approach is the most targeted and the one that's going to ensure the most
Yeah.
success.
Yeah. You know what? I completely agree with you, and I think I would even say to the point where, like, even if you're leading a group of 4 or 5 people, that challenge arises as well because no one's the same, and you're always gonna have differences of opinions. And I think your leadership qualities and what you're teaching right now, that's gonna help no matter if it's a group of 2 or 3 people or whether, like you're helping over
Thousands.
yeah, thousands, 70. It's just great.
Right.
Like 1.25 billion viewers, man. Like I just want to congratulate you. That's great. We aspire one day to help those many people as well. And speaking now of mentorship, so that's what we're going to go through now. So just like you were to me when I texted you and when I tried to contact you and you helped me to achieve my FBLA goals as a state vice president of Florida. So what mentors were important to you and how important do you think mentorship is?
Well, I think mentorship is one of the most crucial and the biggest aspects to succeeding because you always don't know everything and you require to learning is part of the process. And a mentor is going to be someone that guides you through the entire process in many cases or gives you big tips so you can take shortcuts to success. For me personally, as far as FBLA
Yeah,
goes, I had
right.
many amazing mentors.
Uh,
My advisors in school, they've been really helpful in helping me guide and learn about the different possibilities and different pathways I could take to take my
mhm,
leadership skills and apply them to the organization as a whole.
right.
Yeah.
I've also had many peer mentors, many friends I've made over the years who have
Yep.
been very important to me because we share that very similar perspective.
Yeah, it's easier to talk to them. Yeah.
It's easier to
Yeah.
talk about things and look at those possibilities. Other great mentors I found have also been through like LinkedIn. I found some really good mentors. I think
Mhm.
LinkedIn is super big, and if you don't have a
Right.
LinkedIn, please get one started because that's going to help you a lot of
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
and those mentors have helped me more with I'm aspiring to go into finance. So learning about those opportunities, like the opportunity about Morgan Stanley, was through
Mhm.
one of my mentors. So I think it's really important to look at your mentors as an opportunity to, build connections and help advance yourself, but then also
Right.
with the idea that, you know, because someone has helped you, you should help someone else in the future. So I
Exactly.
Yep.
Right. Right.
where, for example, now in FBLA, since I've been in FBLA for 6 years, have accomplished many different things in the organization. New rising leaders in the organization, helping empower them so they're able to reach their goals through
Right.
FBLA. And with my future career, again, anyone that's interested, helping them out in those areas as well, because I think that's super important because of how important mentorship has been for me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so you talk about how you want to go into finance, and that's something I also aspire to be or go into. But right now you're in high school and you're doing all this with FBLA and you have schoolwork, and I bet you have college apps right now because you're a senior. And I guess right now, compared to where you might be in 10 years, you really don't have to worry about work-life balance as much. I'm sure you have to worry about it a lot more than like your average student. So how do you deal with that? And how do you plan on dealing with that? In finance, they work a lot of like heavy hour weeks. So how do you
Yeah,
feel about that?
exactly. No, you know, time management and, balancing your work schedule is something that is, I think, inherently difficult for a lot of people. And,
Yeah.
I sometimes have struggled with that in the past, but what I found is being organized with, my
Absolutely.
schedule and balancing the time and, you know, looking because I do have, for example, right now have a lot going on, like we mentioned, with a lot of school things. So when it comes to my extracurricular involvement, I see that being super important because I think in order to keep some sanity, you need to like still do things that you would do as a young person. Go out
Yeah.
with friends. You know, go out with friends, hang out. Watch movies and things like that, like on your free time and things like that. So I think that's super important in the finance field. I think it's very notorious for being heavy workload. And
Hmm.
the way I look at it, it's really an investment, right? I mean,
Yeah.
with finance, your heavy workload, like working some of the big amount of hours that you will as incoming analyst, or it's not going to be a
Right.
forever thing,
Yeah.
right? Little
Mhm.
by little, things start getting better. So I think it's a little bit worth. It's an investment in your time. So that's sort of how I look at it, and in my perception, when you look at, for example, your work experience, time that you put into education, time you put into extracurricular activities, they're going to develop you as a person. It's really an investment for what's going to be able to come in the future. the more time and the more effort you put on earlier on, the greater your potential value, for different things you're going to be able to accomplish in your career, earnings potential for
Right.
your life
Yeah.
and different
Mhm.
opportunities that's going to open. You really see how it's really a big investment, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you're investing money, it compounds over time. And I think putting in the amount of work and you know looking at the different opportunities that's going to be able to offer you, for me, has been one of the motivating factors
Right.
to really pursue this field.
Yep.
So, my favorite thing what you just said, and I tell this to everyone, right? And I even wrote my college essay on something like this. So, just the amount of work you're doing, and you need to go out, you watch a movie, spend time with your family, spend time with your friends, and sometimes, we have so much pressure, and you see the people around us, like so many people, they're so successful and they're so great. So what people don't realize is that the most successful people are the ones who realize the value of time and value of creating memories. And that's something I just love that you said, that just taking time to maybe watch a movie, do something that you love, spend time with my boy right here, before this podcast.
Sir.
It's that type of things. And so my question to you is, when me and Shane first started this, right? He told me, he's like, you do the public speaking, I'll do everything else. But I told him, I'm like, if you want to be successful, you need to be able to communicate, and communication is key. And you said that connections, and mentorship is an extremely big deal. And I've seen such a growth with Shane. He used to be the one, and I used to ask all the questions. I used to do the introduction. But now he's out here, he's talking to people, he's making connections, he's speaking so confidently. I'm really proud of him. So, to you, how important is making connections and how important is communication when it comes to something in the business field?
Well, I think it's something that's very important in life in general. And when it comes to communication, you of course have to know some of the basics about, how to public speak, how to do interviews, and how
Yeah,
to carry on
absolutely.
conversations. But I think something that's very important is, knowing what's going on in the world around you and having a lot of different general knowledge about many different things. Like for example, like something I like to do sometimes is like I like to study art history, and little things like that could like be topics of conversation and build those connections. So I think the more cultured that you are, and it could be with anything, it could be art, it could be music, it could be sports, it could be anything you want. The more you know about the world around you, the greater the potential it's going to be for you to make more
Right.
connections. In addition to what you would traditionally hear when it comes to communications, like you know body language and you know
Exactly.
different tips that you usually hear. I think it's very important, and it's sometimes kind of undervalued of the importance that gaining new knowledge is going to help you when building relationships. Because we have to remember, at the end of the day, relationships open doors, and
Right.
you might be able to succeed without as many relationships, but again, your potential is going to be through the roof. The more
Exactly. Exactly.
opportunities, the more connections you're able to make.
Um, that's like I agree with that completely. You do need to get connections to go anywhere in life. I mean, whether it be through business or just getting a job. I don't think most people realize because like even like he wants to go into tech. He wants to be a computer science engineer. There's so many layoffs. There's so many like job opportunities that there are, but it's so competitive that you're not going to get it unless you have the connection. So I like how you said that. Going back to finance, I want to know about how you feel about finance right now. I want to, do you invest? And let's talk about the future. Like, how do you feel about crypto? How do you feel about everything coming out?
Well, I think that's very interesting. As far as the crypto world goes, I think it's still an area that remains. It's continued to be researched and continue to be explored, and I think it
Yeah.
offers great potential. There's some risk with, of course. It fluctuates a lot, but I think in the future, crypto is going to be something that, for example, when we start talking about, for example, the reserves of federal money, I think in the future it might look something like crypto, and that's somewhere where crypto might end up going. As far as
Right.
my current investments, I go a little bit more the traditional route. I am really big into stock investments. The last couple of weeks have definitely been interesting with how some stocks have been performing.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's been a
we've got a
very
like
rough.
a lot of fluctuation in the market.
Yeah.
But in the future, I would like to do a little bit of a mix of everything, and have a
Mhm.
very diverse portfolio, as far as stocks and crypto goes. And one of the things that I really want to pursue potentially in the future is real estate development. I think that's an area
Yeah.
that
Exactly. I agree. Yeah.
a lot of potential, and real estate is a great way to build wealth.
Uh-huh.
And one of the most important things this past summer, I did a summer course at the University of Notre Dame's Mendoza College of Business.
Wow.
Okay.
One of the big things that we discussed in that course was what wealth creates. It creates further opportunity to enhance society, right? I think it's important to, when you look at your future career and what you do and what you earn from your professional life and your investments, look at it as not only what you could do for yourself, but what you can do, for your community, and what ways can you improve the world. And there's some really interesting statistics about how the world has changed since, we had the massive increase of wealth in the last couple of centuries. And things like immense poverty and education levels have, gone towards the better for those metrics. And the potential is endless. The
Right.
more we're able to invest into our society, the more
Mhm.
we're going to be able to, achieve greater accomplishments as a society. So I think that's something that like really is a driving passion for me as far as my career in finance and what I hope to do with my future investments and any wealth I do.
100%. Yeah, I agree with that. I think you need to be well versed in your investments. For me personally, I do it all, right? Obviously not real estate. I'm too young for that right now, but I try to get into all of it. How do you feel about I mean, you say you go the more traditional route, like stocks rather than crypto right now. Do you do I'm yelling in the background. I've had. Do you think like right now at a younger age that like have you started investing in long term like compound interest at putting money in the S&P 500 for compound interest because in 50 years it'll be worth a lot more. It's not going to see the same growth as you're going to see in some growth stocks, but going into an index fund matters more when you're young. Like investing younger matters more.
Right, for sure. And it's something that I have started to do because I know how important it is to have that in there and for it to compound towards the future. Now, as far as like when I start getting, I guess,
Mhm.
earning more, because right now what I earn as a high school student is definitely a lot less than I will in
Yeah.
the future, right? So um I want to in the future, my strategy I think is going to shift a little bit because right now I think it's like mostly like a lot of the growth stocks, but I have some portions saved into like S&P 500s just because it's a little bit safer, and I like having my eggs in different baskets.
Yeah.
But in the
Yeah.
future, I do think like I will probably go towards a little more of the real estate side because I think real estate is very interesting in the way it works. Because one, it's passive income in reality, and at the end of the day, you're also gonna have massive like value shifts for your property. So I think in the future, I do see myself building my portfolio more like based towards real estate, but still
Mhm.
have a good amount of stocks and S&P 500 and other index stocks to make sure I have balanced investments.
You know what? That's amazing. Actually, my mom, she's also a real estate agent, so I get what you're trying to say. And she started a little bit later. And I just think it's great that you're starting young. You know all this information. Just imagine how much ahead you are compared to other people, and how as you brought up wealth, it's amazing. So I'm gonna take a route which we usually take in GoldVine, especially with the times we are in right now. So you said that you like taking the traditional route and with finance and everything. But the biggest thing right now, ChatGPT, Gemini AI, and Cloud AI, AI is just such a big deal right now. So what do you think will happen with AI finance in the business world? Where do you think AI is going to be in the future? Do you think it'll play a big role, or do you think it'll just fade away? This is just more of a trend.
Well, let me tell you that I think artificial intelligence is something that's very interesting. And in part, I think what I think is less talked about a little bit is, AI has existed for the last decade or so, or like as we've had advancements in technology. The big difference is that now it's more marketed and it's pretty much now a consumer product. So, as far as artificial intelligence goes into the financial field, I see it having a
Mhm.
great deal of impact. Many financial models currently require on
Right.
artificial intelligence to function. Um, and more than anything, I do see it as a tool um, for
Absolutely. I agree.
because think about it, like you've always had at different points in human history when
Uh-huh.
technology has arisen, you've had like questions of like, well, for example, when the internet was created and the internet was expanding and you were able to
Yeah.
access knowledge like this, there was people who said, hey, I think this is going to destroy humanity. People are not going to be able to think
Yeah.
anymore. That's not what happens. People shift and you start using those things as resources to spend their time building
Yeah.
other knowledge, right? So I think when we look at AI and its potential for the future, I just think it's going to become another tool like the internet has. And think about how much, for
Yeah.
example, finance with fintechs and different things in the technological field has shifted over the last 20 years. I
Right.
think the difference is going to be, monumental. What is that going to exactly look like? I'm not sure. There's a lot of ways
Yeah,
that,
no
Yeah,
one
I know
knows.
it's true, right?
but what I will say is that I think we're going to see a benefit towards a better, like towards improvement because
Uh-huh.
at the end of the day, what also really matters is that we also have to think our potential as humans. So as humans, again, we talked about time a little bit early on. We have limited time. If there's things that technology can help us think about or solve that we would have had to do in the past, we're gonna have
Yeah.
more time to think about new things
Yeah.
and gather the data and compile different things. So
Mhm.
we will do knowledge and achieve greater things. So again, I think it's about how you think. I think a lot of people right now are worried about AI, but I think it's something that is going to be a tool that it's very valuable to learn to use.
Yeah, and I like where we're going in this podcast. I think we wrapped up on everything we wanted to hear and everything we were interested in. So I think we've kept it nice and short and sweet. So I want to end it on a good note. I want to know, where do you think you'll be in 10, 15, 20 years from now? What you want to be working as in finance? Like, just where do you think you'll be? And I want to hear your biggest tip or your biggest advice on aspiring leaders or people in finance or just people who want to know anything about business.
For sure. So I would say that that question is really hard because I think there's just so many paths that I could take. What I sort of see myself doing is um either I want to get an MBA and a JD MBA. So
Yeah.
go to law school and get an MBA as well. And use that to really build something new that I think could be, interesting in the financial field. And I really want to focus on Latin America. I have a also pretty diverse international
Okay, bro.
background.
Yeah.
So I want to focus a little bit more on international finance and
Mhm.
different opportunities, possibly with real estate development. Um,
Yeah.
but we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities. As
Right.
far as my biggest tip for aspiring leaders, number one, make connections and take
Yeah.
That's
advantage of
right.
the opportunity that you have. Every opportunity you
Opportunity is everything.
is a gateway to another great opportunity down the road. And that's going to help you prepare and get new knowledge. And always continuously look to for new ways to learn and new ways to better yourself as a leader, as a person, as a thinker, as someone who is going to contribute to some sort of change in society, whether that be through your job or through other things that you do. It's really important that you keep all those things in mind as you look to expand your leadership capabilities.
Well, so all right, now that we're gonna end this off, I wanna plug you. All right, I want you to drop your socials, and I want everyone to be able to reach you. Use that connection is such a big thing. I want people to have a connection with you, just as you were to me. You helped me through so much, especially in Future Business Leaders of America, and you keep helping me again and again. You showed up on this podcast, and I want to thank you so much because
Thank
we're
you.
also rising entrepreneurs. We're also rising people in tech, rising people, just rising students.
Yeah.
And it's just great to learn from people our own age. So I want to thank you so much, Fabio. And if you just want to drop maybe your YouTube, your Instagram, your LinkedIn for everyone else, and yeah, I'll let you just end it up.
For sure. So, for my YouTube channel, you can find me at Purple Political Talk. On
Mhm.
Instagram, you can find me at Fabiani.Fabio. And then on LinkedIn, you can just find me at Fabio Fabbiani. So, I would love to connect with anyone that, is interested in some of the same things that I am or would like advice, about anything about FBLA, about YouTube, about different opportunities. I want to thank you so much for having me today. It's really been a pleasure to have this
Of
conversation
course,
with you.
Thank
man.
you.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I just want to thank all of our viewers. Shane, do you have
Yep.
anything?
No, you were a great guest on
Yeah.
the podcast, and thank you for coming at such a short notice.
And we really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Thank you.